Greetings, students and parents. My name is Sean Irwin. It's my pleasure to provide you with an explanation of the Social Studies course offerings for the 2017-18 school year. So the Social Studies curriculum at BC High works as follows. We do require 3 years of Social Studies at BC High in order to graduate, and for most BC High students, those 3 years are going to be divided as follows. For the first year and a half of their time at BC High, that is for all of 9th grade and the first half of 10th grade, they will study global history, and then halfway through the 10th grade, they will switch to studying United States history. They'll study U.S. history for the rest of sophomore year, and then for the full year during their junior year, so 1 year and a half at the beginning of global, another year and a half of U.S. history. That gives you their 3 years that are required for graduation. And all of the courses that I'm going to describe here over the next few slides, detailed descriptions of those can be found in the BC High course catalog. So let's start out with 10th grade. In 10th grade, there are several different options. The first is Global History 2, U.S. History 1. The second course is called Global History 2, U.S. History 1 Honors. And the next course is AP or Advanced Placement World History. So Global History 2, U.S. History 1, that's just a continuation of the class Global History 1 that 9th graders took. This is the class that most 10th grade students at BC High will ultimately enroll in, and there is no application required to take this particular course. Your sons will just go ahead and register for this class as they would any other normal class at BC High with their guidance counselor. Global History 2, U.S. History 1 Honors is very similar to the course I just mentioned, but also some important differences. So like that other class I just mentioned, this class is also a continuation of Global History 1 that the boys took in 9th grade. However, because it is an honors class, students can expect some very rigorous assessments. A lot of the readings they do will be a bit more challenging. And really, we're looking for students who are eager to learn new material. Because it is an honors class, this requires an application and ultimately department approval. World History AP is a unique course. It started this year actually, and it is the only AP class at BC High that is offered to 10th graders. Unlike those last two classes that I mentioned, Global History 2, U.S. History 1 and Global History 2, U.S. History 1 Honors, World History AP is not a continuation of the class that 9th graders here take. However, much of the content that is covered with this class does overlap. It is related. And as you would expect as an AP course, again, a tremendous amount of content is covered over the course of the year. Absolutely, you can expect rigorous assessments as the students prepare to take the national exam in May. And this class, of course, does require an application and, again, department approval. One thing to note here is that BC High does require 1 year of U.S. history before the boys graduate. So, for students who ultimately decide to take World History AP, they need to make sure that at some point later in their BC High career, either during junior year or during senior year, they must take a full year U.S. history course to meet that requirement. So we have a couple of unique courses for any rising sophomores who plan on taking Greek 1 honors during 10th grade. Because of the demands that are put on the schedules of students who take Greek 1 honors, because they are taking multiple languages, BC High allows these students to graduate with only 2 years of social studies. But because of that 1 year requirement of U.S. history that I mentioned in the previous slide, we've created 2 special courses only for students who are taking Greek 1 honors. Again, the only students that can take these 2 courses are students who plan on taking Greek 1 honors. These courses are called just United States History and United States History Honors. And like any other honors or AP course, there is an application required for the U.S. History Honors class. So that takes us to 11th grade. And for 11th grade, there are really just 2 options available for our students. Number 1 is the class called United States History 2. The next one is United States History AP. So let me take you through these. U.S. History 2, very simply, is a continuation of the work that the boys did, most of them, during 10th grade when they took their U.S. History 1 course in the second semester of 10th grade. This course just picks up from there and goes for all of junior year, and there is no application required for students who want to take this course. U.S. History AP is a popular course. It's probably a little more popular than U.S. History 2. And for students who want to take an AP course during their junior year, as their social studies course, U.S. History AP is the only option available. Again, as an AP course, there's going to be a tremendous amount of content that's covered from the start of the year until May when the course wraps up. And there will definitely be rigorous assessments, challenging texts, etc. before that exam. A quick note about the application process for AP courses. So a few years back, the Social Studies Department adopted an open enrollment policy for our 11th and 12th grade AP courses. And this is how it works. So any student who has a cumulative GPA of 2.8 or higher as of January, that is at the end of the first semester, and a minimum grade of B or B- if it's an honors or AP course for the first semester of his current social studies course is allowed to sign up for an AP course like USAP without an application. That is, if he meets that cumulative GPA criteria of 2.8 and has that B, he will just simply enroll in USAP with his guidance counselor at the appropriate time. However, any student who fails to meet both of these requirements, that is, there could be a student who has above a 2.8 but below a grade of B for their current social studies course, that student would need to complete an application. The other example would hold true if he has a 2.7 GPA but has an A in his current social studies class. Again, he would need to complete an application to be admitted to that particular AP course. Some of those students, of course, are going to be accepted and they'll end up taking the class, but unfortunately, some of the students who apply will not be accepted into the course. When we're looking at students who are filling out these applications, we're going to take into consideration the recommendations of the student's current social studies teacher and his guidance counselor and several other factors as well. So for our seniors, we have a number of options. The first one is Economics AP. It's a combination of microeconomics and macroeconomics. European History AP, Government and Politics in the United States AP, and again, United States History AP. And of course, this assumes that this class was not already taken during the 11th grade year. We don't want students taking the exact same course for both 11th and 12th grade. And in addition to our AP offerings, we also have a number of semester electives. And one thing to note, as you can see there, is that semester electives, while they're a great choice and students usually enjoy them very much, they do not count toward the 3-year social studies requirement for graduation. So typically, the students that end up taking these are students who have already fulfilled their 3-year requirement. And it's just something that students have to be careful of, that they need to make sure that they are not planning on taking their semester electives and hoping that those will fulfill the requirement for graduation, because they do not. So our AP courses for seniors. The policy that I described a few minutes ago regarding open enrollment, this is applicable also to students who want to take our 12th grade AP courses. That is Economics, European History, Government and Politics for US. So again, the same criteria are in play. You must have that cumulative GPA of 2.8 or higher and a minimum grade of B or B- if it's honors or AP. If so, great, just go right ahead and sign up for one of our 12th grade AP courses. If a student does not meet both of these requirements, again, he'll just go ahead and complete the same application that is offered to the students who want to take AP US who do not meet those requirements. As it says, just like before, we're going to be taking a look at the recommendation of the student's current social studies teacher, his guidance counselor, and some other factors. In terms of these semester electives, so these are a really great opportunity for students who have a particular interest in social studies or in history in general. For next year, we have the following semester electives being offered. A course called Advocating for Global Issues, America and World War II, Economics, Government, and Psychology. And again, just a reminder that any of those classes cannot be used to fulfill a student's 3-year social studies requirement for graduation. So I think that's about it. Thank you so much for your attention. I strongly encourage any students or parents to contact me. My email address is on there, irwin@bchigh.edu, or please feel free to contact your son's current social studies teacher. We look forward to working with you, answering any questions that you have, and best of luck with the process.